there is a point. And the point is that, wow, this is a big topic. This is a huge thing. This is a magnitude. If a man can control his tongue, specifically men, by the way, if a man can control his tongue, he can control just about anything. And so now I will take it off. All right, there we go. Ephesians 4:29 and 32 sets a precedent, and I just want to give some backgrounds concerning this. I'll let you go from here. All right, so really, it really says that we should stop corrupt words. The text we're going to see today is really about stopping. All right, telling you the magnitude of a poor tongue, and we're going to be looking at that. But Paul, we all understand is that it's not just about not doing that. It's about what? Speaking grace with our what? Mouths. I love seeing people laugh. Do you like doing that? You know, some people, you ever see it when someone just starts laughing for no reason? What happens to you? Just start laughing. You know what I mean? I have no idea. What are you laughing for? No idea, but it certainly is fun to be around people that are what? It's fun to be around people that are laughing, and it's fun to tell a joke and everybody laughs. So you guys got to learn that. When I tell a joke, you got to what? You're supposed to laugh. You know what I mean? But you know, I don't know what happens. Sometimes you don't understand what I'm saying. I know that. So this particular verse is just a pre-verse, and so we'll go to the next one. Whoever watches his mouth and tongue keeps himself from
trouble.
All right. Oh boy, you're really good. Now let's try that with everybody. All right. Let's try that. All right. Thank you. That's appreciate that. All right. Whoever watches his mouth and tongue keeps himself from
trouble.
All right. So let's go on here. The mouth of the righteous, Proverbs 10:31, flows from wisdom, but the perverted tongue will be what? All right. So that's great. Even before there is a word on my tongue, behold, O Lord, you know it. All right, so you don't have to say things in order for the Lord to know what's going on where? Inside. And we talk to ourselves. Anybody, raise your hand if you talk to yourself. Quietly and openly, all right? There's a few people here are not telling the truth, all right? All right, I always talk to myself. And in fact, if I talk to myself, I can keep myself moving when I don't want to move. I keep going and my mind is there. And actually, I even like talking out loud because, you know. And then sometimes you ever go with someone's talking on their cell phone and they have earplugs in or something, and you can't see them. And you walk by them and they're talking, you think, what, you know? and they just keep going, but you're saying, oh, they're not talking to me. All right. So, Psalms 34:13, keep your tongue from evil and your lips from speaking deceit. How's that song go? That's a Patch the Pirate song, isn't it? Keep your tongue. Go back. Keep your tongue from evil. How's that go? How am I doing? Somebody help me out.
From evil, keep your tongue.
Keep your tongue from evil. Keep your tongue.
And your lips from speaking lies. Keep your tongue from evil. Keep your tongue.
And they thought they were only doing one special today. All right. So a good thing to teach your children is to tell them how to talk. All right. Jesse was in here and he started shooting me with a rubber band, and I think he missed the point that that's probably not the best place to do it. You know what I mean? He wouldn't do it hard, but you know, at home though, you know, you should see the wars we have. You know, but just being able to put that in context is very important. But the things that proceed out of the mouth come from the where? And those defile a. All right, so we know that there's a whole study on this, but we know that there's more than just what we say and the tongue does. We know a lot of that comes from the heart, from the emotions, and also it comes from facial expressions. You know, it comes from the way we stand in our posture, the way we see ourselves, and whether we're actually, the people that we're talking to feel like they're being lifted up, or they're being what? Torn down and from those things. So this you know, and one thing, so I tried to explain this earlier, and I think I failed, but let me try it again, and I'm going to take this, I'm hitting the wrong thing here. So what happens in James is there is a circle of going like this, all right? There's a circle, and on those circles, he comes back to the issue of tongues. You know what I'm saying by that? So each time in the book of James, he speaks about, says a verse about a tongue, and goes on, and then when it comes back, he speaks about tongues what? Again, and then he'll come back and he'll speak about tongues, and then actually in the middle, he'll basically talk of this at length of what we're going to cover today. Oh, by the way, I have notes. If you prefer them, if you don't, could I get you, Gary, and Mr. Bruce to pass those out to people that may want to see those and they don't want to see them? My organization of it. If it's a distraction, don't use them. If it's not, you want to go back and look at it, that's fine. So James 1:19 and 20 is, this you know, my brethren, but everyone must be quick to hear and slow to anger, for the anger of man does not achieve the righteousness of God. And it's a very thing. But in this particular, he's talking about slow to what? One lesson. And this is one of the key statements in James about the tongue. James 4:11, I skipped over chapter 3. Do not speak against one another, brethren. He who speaks against a brother or judges his brother speaks against the law and judges the law. But if you judge the law, you are not a doer of the law, but a what? A judge of the law. And basically understanding this is that you're saying to God, I know how to do this better than the way you know how to do it, and we're so accustomed to speaking out in ways that will actually be saying that my judgment about how things should happen is better than God's judgment. So in our day we have gossip. And what is gossip? Speaking evil about a person, whether it's true or not. And let's just say it is true, but speaking evil is not within our realm unless we have speaking to someone with the cause to what? Lift them up, help them in a way. But just speaking evil, just a moment on a news station, and you'll find out that you can go down, and they actually have a gossip center on the news stations, which I avoid like the plague. I don't want to hear the latest gossip about what marriage is breaking up and what Hollywood world is all going on, because that is what? It's just gossip. There's nothing, I don't need to know that. And frankly, some information, one of the ways that you win a political battle is to basically talk down your opponent rather than offer something you can. I don't know how, I think it's appropriate, but anyways, we'll go on. In James chapter 3, I would like for you to turn in your Bibles there, and verse 1. And we'll take a look. And James 3, verse 1 has oh, wait a minute. We'll go to this too. Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never. How true is that? Wow, that's not true at all, is it? Somebody was saying you could talk to me. Maybe they had they were trying to get out of all the verb. But how many times have you been hurt by words? How many times have you been crushed by someone saying something or saying something in a wrong way? We're constantly crushed. And people make it an art to be able to shoot. I usually use it as an idea of shooting bullets. I like guns, but anyways, don't tell anybody, all right? Because not everybody does. But I mean, you shoot to what? Hit the what? Target. And so basically you're shooting and you're saying things that are going to hurt a person in here and not lift them up. It's not ministering grace. Obviously they had that in James' day. They had it in Paul's day, they had it in Christ's day, and we have it here today. This is nothing new, and although I don't think this is a preeminent problem in our church, I do think that it needs to always be addressed. There's some things they can do. And of course, in here, there are some churches that's what you're going to get when you go there. You're going to get a mouthful of shots when you enter in there. So let's see if you can memorize the outline. Are you ready? All right. Bridling the tongue and little to large. How many people think they can memorize that in one day? Bridling the tongue and little to what? How many people think they can, if I ask right now, you could really get that? Bridling the tongue and little to large. And I would suggest to you that the outline is really there in James. And you know what's part about this, which really is a fun part, is there are illustrations galore in here. So part of the way James writes is he gives a ton of illustrations. He loves illustrations, obvious, because there's going to be several. And I counted, 7 or so, and then, I'm looking at the other parts and I'm saying, well, maybe that's an illustration too. And that's an illustration. So actually in between, we're going to get points, and then he's going to give an illustrations of horses and ships. And, where's my briefcase? In my briefcase, there's a little thing I forgot to take out. Where is it? There it is. My grandson's favorite thing to do. You have to watch them like a hawk, don't you, when they're kids? How many kids, when you were growing up, loved these things? Jim is like, yeah, the Jim. I could believe that, Jim. I can believe that. Huh?
What is it?
What's a match?
Okay.
That's a good question, though.
Was it a harmonica or a match?
It's a picture of it in the under little to large. You see that in your notes, all right. So, oh yeah, bad the little to large. And you think I could start a whole forest fire with that? Yep. All right. I got to be careful here. All right. Yeah. So little to what? Large. And so who was that guy, that character? If you're old enough, you know who he was. He was a bear. He used to come on all the time in the summertime. Who was that guy? Who?
Smokey Bear.
Smokey the what?
Bear.
Oh, it's Smokey up here now. All right. So, Smokey the Bear. How many people, without looking, can tell me the two things outlined? Little to large. Okay, bridle of the tongue and little to what?
Large.
Little to large. And there's a bunch of illustrations. Sandy gave me an illustration right away from the text, and before, I think it was yesterday, you were saying. She knew I was doing it. She already gave me an illustration. So I'm going to leave it there, and then I'm going to address the pictures and the things on my notes, or by all the power in the world, just use your Bibles, right? We're all for that, all right? So that's what I do. I do have my Bible open. It's just because I print my what? I print my Bible, all right? So anyways, that's what I do. And then he starts out, and who are we talking to in 3:1? We're talking to Christians. So first of all, we're not talking to other people. We're talking with Christians with this particular problem. I don't know how you get away from this. I don't know how I get away from it. Is anybody not guilty? I mean, is anybody can say, I've never done this. I don't know how you can get away with it. In other words, this is a very hard thing to do. We're going to learn that. This is not something that is simple to do, to bridle your tongue. All right? He said, my brother, let not many of you become teachers, knowing that we will receive a stricter judgment. It's kind of like, everybody wants to be an apostle. You ever know that? The Apostle Church. Where were we at? Oh, we go down taking the boat to Myers Park, and there's an Apostle Church there, And I was like, wait a minute. You really want to be an apostle? What was the life expectancy of the 12 apostles? Living out your retirement age, getting your Social Security. How many of you think you got their Social Security? Maybe, I don't even think John did it. He was in prison, right? He's like, being an apostle is not the most famous thing in the world to be. You got to realize that it comes with a big cost. How about a prophet of the days? Even didn't Jesus say that you've killed all the what? You mean you could become a prophet and you're basically asking for a death wish. All right? You speak God's word, you speak it with authority, you speak it what? Loud and clear, and you're asking for a what? A death wish. And that's truly more a reality than what we're dealing with at the present time in our society. And the key statement that's going to come out here is that for we all stumble at many things. So we're all tripping, stumbling. I have a black and blue on this toe on my left side, a big black and blue right over here. And my chair got moved. And I got up in the middle of the night and bam! And there I went. I was about ready to fall over, I caught myself, and I didn't even want to look at it because this thing is bleeding. You know what I mean? I'll just go to bed and finish the night out. No, it was just bruised. All right, so if anyone does not stumble in the word, what kind of man is he? A complete man. You know, in Colossians, this word popped up all the time, complete. So in other words, if you have a glass and it's filled up 3/4 away, is it complete? No, there's things that are what? Missing. All right, so this complete means full, all the way there. Everything's there if you can do this, all right? And actually, verse 2, it says, if, and there actually are some people, there's a reality to that statement. There's some people that have to be what? People that do not stumble in the word, those people are actually complete people. And if you want to control your whole body, he is a perfect man, and he is also able also to bridle his whole what? His whole thing. So my statement, bridling the tongue. And you ever work with horses, and what happens? They have horses, and they put a what in their mouth? A bit, right? They put that bit in there, and they take control of the whole horse. Indeed, and so first illustration here. All right. Indeed, we put bits in horses' mouths that they may obey us, and we turn their what? You ever see them do the barrel racing? You ever see a picture of them doing that, barrel racing? And the horse almost looks like it's on a what? On an angle when it's going around. And they teach the horses how to do that. That's pretty amazing when they do that. How about when children are growing up? How many times do you have to repeat what instructions to them? One time? See, how many of your kids actually did everything you said to them to do the first time, happily and with, yes, Mom, yes, Dad, I will do that gladly for you because I love you. And boom, they went out and did it, and it was done. Anybody's kids do that perfectly? All right, so I think this is an honest group. All right, so it's good. Yeah, so our kids always did exactly what yours did. All right, so yeah, actually teaching children is constantly repetitive. And what are parents like? You know, when they begin to get wear down a little bit with their kids going the other way, when you say go that way, they go that way. And so they start escalating. You know what an escalating parent is? You know what escalating, what does that mean when the parent begins to escalate?
Louder.
A little louder, a little louder. The words get a little one. I love it when I walk into a grocery store and the kids are screaming and carrying on, and what does Mom do? Will you stop it? I just wonder where they learned that from, you know? And I'm just like, oh my goodness, you know what I mean? I'm embarrassed. I almost want to sit them down and do a parenting lesson. But you know, I never escalated in my life, you know, like you guys did, you know. Obviously I'm joking, right? But you ever see that happen? Oh, that is so like, oh my goodness. You're wondering where these kids are all getting into this as well. They watch the movies and actually, well, who is it? Who is that guy? You know, he's a cartoon and he's weak, his legs go like this. And the Roadrunner, is that guy? Here's the other one always trying to get the Roadrunner, some kind of fox or something. Oh, you guys know. All right, so, they're always in a war. Isn't that great? How about Bugs Bunny? He's always using his mouth the what? The wrong way. I mean, you're killing all of the fun that we had. But if you notice, a lot of the cartoons, And especially today, not only back in the, after the dinosaurs died when I was doing it, after they died, I'm joking. What happens is that they're learning, and it's very fun. They're laughing at people hurting other people. They're laughing at words being said that are very vile in the wrong way. You take it and you say, okay, what did that guy just say? The guy just hit this guy over the head with this big hammer, and he's got a big, bump on his head, and it's constantly going on. So they put bits in their mouths, and so this is a bridling them, controlling that kind of attitude. Look also at ships, although they are so large and are driven by fierce winds. Obviously these ships had what? They're sailboats, if you would. All right, they're driven, what controls them? A rudder. Actually, I read an article recently where killer whales are going after the rudders of boats. And why are they doing that? I don't know. They're kind of saying, I have no idea why they're doing it, but they go after the rudders and they go after the boats. And well, I don't want to kill a whale out in Cayuga Lake. You ever see one? No, you haven't seen one. Okay, good. All right, and now I'm safe. All right, so, but the killer whales will go after them, and for some reason, they're going after boats. And I don't know why, but anyways, the first truth is that we must bridle our tongue. And I think this is the overall emphasis here, is bridle your what?
Tongue.
Control your tongue. All right, because I think if you're like me, in all honesty, my tongue can get a little farther than what I want it to be. And there are times when I feel like I'm saying something, and as I'm saying it, I'm almost like, why did I say that? You ever feel that way? I wish I could pull it back in. It's actually toothpaste out of the bottle. It's not going back in. Yes. It's out, and the only thing I can do is try to gather that guy in. So, the first part, and if you look with me in verse 5, it has an introductory statement. First two words that I have down there is even so. So it gives us an indication that this is although they're not size-wise comparable, it gives an indication what actually he's going to talk about tongue, what is next. And it's little things start large problems. Little things start what? As a rudder controls a whole ship, right? The opposite of that, a little match can start in a complete, what?
Fire.
And no matter what relationship you're talking about, the wrong words, the wrong time, in the wrong place can actually create a what? A forest fire in your relationship. And so you need to be very careful. You need to bridle your tongue. So here what happens is, even so the tongue is a little member and boasts great things. All right? So little to what? Because I just want you to remember it, because down the road you're going to say things and you're going to do things, and I want to remember what? Bridle my what? That's what I want to do. I want to make it extremely practical. James is practical. I want to make it practical. Bridle my tongue. Know when to say things. And boy, have I ever said things the wrong. I've said right things in the wrong way, and nobody can really hear what I am saying. You ever experienced that? I'm saying the right things in the wrong context, and nobody can understand a thing I'm saying. And I'm saying, and I'm looking at it, and I'm going, I said the right thing. Everything I said was true, but it was in the wrong context. It's not the time. And my wife is always good. Now's not the time to wrestle with the kids. They need to go to bed. You ever, wrestling with kids just before they go to bed is not the what? And it's the smartest thing to do if you're a mom, all right? And, but I love that part of the life. So anyways, as we go here, little members. And so the third illustration is, see how great a forest, a little what? A little fire kindles. And the tongue is a what?
Fire.
A little fire. And it does what?
Burns.
And I think that many times, many times, I've watched people get into, they're arguing about the garbage. You ever argue about garbage, putting the garbage out? Maybe you haven't, but but you start about the garbage, and 2 hours later, you have no idea where you started. And no couples will never know, people will never know why we're arguing about this. And really, what is the value of really arguing about it? But in a different context, it could actually go much better, little to large. And so that's going to take over here. Until it's still in verse 6, the tongue is so set among our members. What's it mean to be set among our members? It's so positioned. It has this authority amongst our members. It takes what? The tongue is comparatively a very what? Small part of us. But it plays what kind of role? It is a very large role. What gets you to start responding wrong is when someone says something harmful to you. You got a big nose, you got big toes. That probably wouldn't bother me a whole lot because it's probably true, right? But I mean, somehow, certain things happen to you. Well, what gets you going? What gets you going? I know, and my wife knows for clear what you'll get, man. I'm not telling you what it is because I know what I'm going to get it. You know what I mean? But you know that's going to happen because you could take something really what? Small, and it'll turn into a what? A forest fire. And you could be dead right. But wisdom is going to have to take, insight's going to have to take you, say, this is not the time, the place to do it. I'll be honest with you, the best thing that Holly and I have ever done is had personal devotions every morning. That's the time for us to what? We solve all of our problems, all of our children's problems, all of our grandchildren's problems, and all the world's problems in that one little time. And sometimes it gets going to a little longer than we think. But we solve them all. But the funny thing is, during the day, they all come back. I don't know how it happens, but anyways. But the thing is that we get to voice things in a context of Bible study and prayer. And those are the times to solve those things. And throughout the day, at nighttime is not a good time to talk to me. If it's 9 o'clock and you want me to solve a problem, probably not a what? Not a good idea. Up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and then at 9 o'clock, I'm ready to what? All right. I have a very long period before it takes me to get to sleep, somewhere between 30 seconds and 60 seconds. My wife is lovely. She'll say, let's pray. I'm like, pray. You know what I mean? Dear Lord, thank you for thank you for our children. Put a hedge about them. And that's literally what I say, isn't it? Put a hedge because I don't want to do it. I said, you're going to have to do this, Lord. I'm just too tired. You know what I mean? You take care of them and you take care of this. This person needs that. And I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm done. I can't. You're going to have to take control. And I'm over it. You know what I mean? But that's me at night. In the morning, you don't want to meet me because I'm hi, how you doing? And everybody else is, leave me alone. All right? Not always that way. But anyway, so the interesting thing is the tongue is set among the members of the rest of the body or the situation, that it defiles the whole what? You have to think that. The first two actually go together, I think, and then the last one has a little bit of a different, it actually says the course. So notice what the tongue does. It defiles the whole body. It sets on fire the course of nature, how things are going to go in your life. Your tongue will set on things. Here's here's what it is, and where's the source of a bad tongue? Where's it from? It's from hell, from mine. So a tongue spoken the wrong way is set on fire from hell. All right? That's pretty strong, isn't it? Little note was there. There's basically, you have to be careful with your mediums, how you speak, when you speak, your facial expressions. A happy person will make another person what? Happy. John Mark and Sandy came and we probably talked them to death. You know what I mean? Or maybe they talked to us. But you just want to do what? Our family, when we get together, when our kids are around us, and believe me, you have to do, you know what double Dutch is, Melissa? You know what? You know, how do you do, you know, double Dutch? How, you have to be pretty good to get in, right?
Yes.
You have to be good to get in. They're doing this, you know, I don't even think I can do it, but I know I watch them and then they're like, they get in, they get out, you know, and they're in and out. If you get around our family, we're gonna talk, you know what I mean? And we're gonna go the whole time, you know, we're just a talking family. I don't know if you ever noticed that about some of us. Maybe it's not so much Holly, but here we go. All right, look with me at the next verse 7. All right, so, actually verse 7, and I looked at this, should it be another point in the text? And I think it's just, if you look at that first word for, it really just gives the reason. So it's given the reason for what came before. So I don't really want to make this a new point, although he logically goes through and keeps giving illustration. You see the, what kind of fish is that going in that picture there? You see the picture on my, that's a killer whale. Would you like to be that person being pushed up by that killer whale? You know, how many people would dare do something like that? I've actually heard where some of those killer whales actually go after people, and I've bitten a few of them. I don't think getting bit by a killer whale there's any survival rate on that, you know. But they tame these these killer whales, and they put them in there and they use them. And that's the point of verse 7. For every kind of beast and bird, of reptile and the creatures of the sea is tamed and has been tamed by what? Imagine the difference between a killer whale and your what? Your tongue. What's the span? Which one is more dangerous? The killer whale? All right, let's take a vote. Let's take which is more dangerous? The killer whale or your and mine vote? Our tongues. Oh, your and my tongues? Killer whale. All right? How many people, I mean, you know, you ever go swimming in the ocean and you're like, eee, I don't know what's down there, you know what I mean? Or you see these crazy people swimming with the sharks, they must know what they're doing, you know what I mean? Who wants to swim with the shark, you know what I mean? Killer whale, yours and mine's tongue. Which is more dangerous? Which is more effective to build up? Our tongues or a killer whale? It doesn't make any sense, does it? What happens? What can our tongues be used for? Ministering grace. One of the greatest verses I've ever read, right? It is what? Don't let corrupt things come out of your mouth, but minister. Minister to people by doing what? Speaking to them grace and mercy. Things that do what to them? Lift them up. You gotta be really careful. I think there's room for rebuke. I think there's room for correction. But boy, make sure that it's what? It's in context. So we're talking about for every kind of beast, and we're talking about that this tongue is set on fire by where? By hell. And so the tongue, the beast, and the reptiles, they all been, you ever see a person tied with one of those, you know, those things that climb the wall? What are those things? And they're big and they're ugly and...
Vine.
Huh?
A vine.
Not a vine, an animal. What are those things? It's a reptile. They got these long tails and you cut them off.
Alligator.
I don't know, not an alligator. You see them and they eat all the cockroaches in the house, so they keep them around.
Is that a gecko?
Something like that. One of those animals. And they got those things, you know, they go to the pet store and they buy them and they put a little rope around them and they're walking around with them. And you're going, oh my goodness, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, you bring a snake or a reptile in my house, my wife is not living in it. What's that?
Iguana.
I think maybe an iguana is what it is. They get, you know, they get kind of like this, usually in this realm. Yeah. Well, you guys are helping me today. That's really good. That's really good. Okay, so look at verse 8. But no man, specifically to men and not women here, it's a particular word that refers to men, not mankind, and but no man can tame the tongue. It is an unruly evil. Note with me the illustration here. full of deadly poison. With it we bless God the Father, and with it we curse men. So we sing praises and we sing all those things, and then we do cursing of people, thinking that somehow they deserve it or we're just enough to do it. And what does he say about that? Who have been made in the similitude of God, and out of the same mouth proceeds blessing and what? Something little becomes what? Large. And so what should we do? We should bridle our what? Bridle our tongues. All right? And when you do, you become a what? A perfect man, a complete man. And so he says, my brethren, this is second part of 10, these things ought not to what? Shouldn't be. Shouldn't be. Shouldn't be what happens here. And so he said, that's just simply that. Does a spring send out fresh water and bitter from the same opening? So Mark, I think Sandy went up to Alaska, and I think it was sulfur water that you had. Sulfur, am I saying that right? Sulfur water? Yeah, sulfur water. Have you ever been around sulfur water?
Yeah, smells.
What does it do to the whole house?
Stinks.
Stinks. Thank you. Precise, accurate, and everything. That water is hard. When we were traveling one time, we got in a home up in the Adirondacks, and it was just trying not to offend the host. They were beautiful people, and we didn't want to offend them. But boy, it just kind of, what? Slapped you in the face. And, you know, do you want to have a drink of water? No, it's okay. I'm not thirsty right now. You know, I'm not really thirsty. Boy, but, you know, for us, we're not there to offend. We're there to lift up. And so we're trying to find ways to do it. And my wife, you know, this Chinese lady one time wanted to bless us because my wife was doing a discipleship with her. She was unsaved. I don't know that she ever got saved. But she said, what is those things around the bed? What are those bed things? And they were, you know, those little skirts that people put around their beds. And she wanted to know what those were. What are some other things? Why do you do this way? And she's trying to figure it out. So she says, no, well, you've blessed me so much. Let me take you out, and I'm going to take you to dinner. And a very Chinese dinner, not an Americanized Chinese. And so her favorite dish came up. And you get a lot of dishes, and you take what you want, and you pay for them individuals.
Chicken claws?
Huh?
Was it chicken claws?
You picked it right out. So sitting there on the plate is these things, chicken claws were there. And my beautiful wife, after me, before that, she says, look at this, this is my favorite. Not wanting to offend, what did I do? I picked up a chicken claw, and in it went, you know, and I'm sucking on those bones. And I have no idea why we like chicken claws, you know what I mean? I don't know. And my wife says, no, I don't think I'm going to have any. She was so good about that, because we didn't want to what? Offend. The truth is that in the text, these things ought not to be. You can't have fresh water and what kind of water? Salt water. It's going to be one or the other. I'm going to suggest to you that fresh water is going to be the things that are going to minister grace. Things that are going to be wonderful to drink. And bitter is going to be probably, in this case, salt. It has some association. And then he finishes in 12. My brethren, can a fig tree, and believe me, if you're a farmer, forgive me, because my neighbor had a fig tree, and his tree was over the fence on our side. So all those that went up on our property, those figs were ours, and they were good. So I know what a fig is, a fresh fig, but I know other things I'm not real, you know, I'm not a farmer anyways, but I think I can understand this. Can a fig tree bear olives? And what's the answer to that? No, it can't. It can't. Or a grapevine bear figs. Can't happen, can it? But around here we have a lot of grapes, vines. Thus, no spring yields both salt and water, salt water, and what? Not going to do it. So, what's the application to that? What's his point? What's he mean when no spring? What's the spring?
Our tongue.
Spring is our
A good tongue.
tongue coming from our heart, right? Can the tongue do both things? Can it deliver it can't deliver two things. It should not be blessing God and cursing men. Seems extremely practical, isn't he? All right, so what's our lesson? Hold your tongue. If you have to, grab it. Huh? All right, grab it. And we used to do that with the kids. When we'd sing a song, we'd have them all try to sing the song while holding their tongue. They loved it. All right? But I don't know if they learned it, but I learned it, to be careful what I say. I don't know that there's much more explanation in this text. Going forward, I think we're going to do a minor prophet. I'm going to wait for Pastor Bruce to come back, and we're going to organize that in the future. And then we have some other ideas even in the future. So I thought we'd sing more about Jesus.